What if the Bible held secrets about money that no one ever told you, not just spiritual advice, real practical financial wisdom, buried in ancient texts, spoken thousands of years ago, yet more relevant than ever today? You've heard of faith, grace, and salvation. But what about investing, debt, wealth, planning for the future? There are divine principles hidden in plain sight, lessons powerful enough to change your financial life forever. But most people miss them, or worse, ignore them. Stay with me, because what you'll discover might challenge everything you thought you knew about God, money, and true prosperity. Before we dive in, take a second to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and activate the notification bell. Why? Because this isn't just about information, it's about transformation. And when you engage with this video, you help it reach more people. People who are tired of struggling, who are ready to take control of their finances, and who need guidance rooted in something deeper than trends. Together, we can build a community of purpose-driven prosperity. People who believe that true wealth comes with wisdom and from above. So go ahead, click like, and let's keep going, because what comes next could shift your entire financial mindset. Let's begin with a story told by Jesus. Not about heaven or miracles, but about money. It's called the parable of the talents. A master was going on a journey. He called 3 of his servants and entrusted each one with a sum of money, talents as they were called. To one he gave 5, to another 2, to the last just 1. He left, and what they did next would define them. The first servant invested. He took risks. He worked with what he had and doubled it. The second did the same, turned 2 into 4. But the third, he buried his talent in the ground, hid it, protected it, did nothing. When the master returned, he praised the first 2. "Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with little. I will set you over much." But to the third, he said something chilling. "You wicked and lazy servant. You should have at least put it in the bank to earn interest." Then the master took away his 1 talent and gave it to the one who had 10. Now pause, think about that. This parable isn't just about ancient currency. It's a financial principle wrapped in a spiritual lesson. God gives each of us something: time, resources, skills, opportunities. And he doesn't want us to bury them. He wants us to grow them, to multiply, to steward wisely. It's not about having a lot. It's about what you do with what you've been given. So ask yourself, are you hiding your potential out of fear? Are you playing it safe while others build, create, and invest? The Bible doesn't praise laziness. It praises faithfulness and fruitfulness. And that begins by recognizing that everything you have is a seed, a chance, a test. What you do with it reveals what you truly believe. Now let's explore another powerful lesson from the book of Proverbs, a timeless guide to wisdom. There's a simple but profound principle hidden in these words: whoever plans carefully will have plenty. Our planning, it sounds so basic. Yet how many of us truly plan our financial lives with care? In a world obsessed with instant gratification and quick wins, the Bible calls us to a different path, a path of patience, foresight, and deliberate action. Think about it. The ant, a small creature often overlooked, is praised in Proverbs because it plans ahead. It stores food in the summer, preparing for winter's scarcity. This is not just about surviving hard times, it's about thriving because of wise preparation. When you plan carefully, you create security. You avoid the chaos of crises, debt, and desperation. But planning is not just a financial skill, it's a spiritual discipline. It reflects trust in God's provision and responsibility over the gifts He gives you. You aren't called to be reckless or impulsive, but to be intentional, strategic, and disciplined. Imagine your financial future as a garden, Without planning, you scatter seeds blindly, hoping something will grow. With planning, you prepare the soil, choose the right seeds, water consistently, and patiently wait for the harvest. The promise in Proverbs isn't vague or conditional. It's a cause and effect. Planning leads to abundance. But there's a catch. Planning requires humility to admit you don't know everything. It requires wisdom to seek advice and learn, and it requires courage to act despite uncertainty. God's word encourages us not just to hope for blessings, but to work for them with wisdom and care. So ask yourself, are you planning your finances with the seriousness they deserve, or are you hoping luck or a miracle will solve your problems? True financial peace begins when you take responsibility, when you map out your path and follow it with faith, because those who plan carefully will indeed have plenty. Now let us turn to one of the most remarkable examples of financial wisdom in the Bible, the story of Joseph in Egypt. Joseph was not just a dreamer, he was a man of action and insight. After rising from a prisoner's cell to Pharaoh's right hand, Joseph faced a daunting task: prepare Egypt for a devastating famine that would last 7 years. How did he do it? He didn't just warn people or pray for a miracle. He applied a sound financial strategy. Joseph advised Pharaoh to store a portion of the abundant harvest during the 7 years of plenty. He created a system to collect, save, and manage resources carefully. When the famine struck, Egypt was ready. A lifeline not only for its people, but for neighboring nations. This story teaches us more than survival. It reveals the power of foresight, organization, and disciplined saving. Joseph's wisdom turned a crisis into an opportunity. But it also shows something deeper. God works through our actions and planning. We cannot expect blessings without effort. Preparation, diligence, and wise stewardship open doors for God's provision. So what can we learn here? First, saving is not selfish. It's wise. Second, preparing for the future honors God's gift of life and resources. Third, even in difficult circumstances, wise financial management can bring hope and restoration. Joseph's story is a call to step up, to take control of your finances, not out of fear, but out of faith, to be proactive, not passive, because sometimes the difference between disaster and deliverance is a plan well executed. Now let us face a hard truth found in the book of Proverbs, a warning that echoes through the ages. The borrower is slave to the lender. Debt is more than just a number on a statement. It's a chain, an invisible bond that limits freedom. The Bible doesn't condemn borrowing outright, but it clearly shows the dangers of living beyond your means. When you owe, your choices shrink. Your peace of mind fades, your future becomes uncertain. Many people fall into debt without even realizing the trap they're stepping into. Credit cards, loans, buy now, pay later, all sound convenient at first, but can quickly become overwhelming burdens. Proverbs urges us to avoid this enslavement, to live within our means, to be wise stewards of what we have, not greedy for what we don't. Debt steals your liberty, your ability to make decisions based on your values and goals, and it steals your joy, because worrying about how to pay tomorrow's bills takes away today's peace. But there's hope. The Bible also teaches about redemption and discipline. It encourages us to work diligently, save carefully, and avoid unnecessary debts. It challenges us to say no to instant gratification and yes to long-term freedom. So ask yourself, are you a slave to debt? Or are you working toward true financial freedom? The path is hard, but it's possible. And it begins when you decide to take control, because freedom, true freedom, comes when you break the chains and live wisely. Now let's reflect on a powerful example of contentment and financial wisdom from the Apostle Paul. Paul, despite facing hardship, imprisonment, and uncertainty, shared a simple but profound truth. I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. What does this mean for us today? In a world driven by consumerism and endless desire for more, Paul teaches us the value of living with less than we earn, of being content with what we have. Contentment is not about settling for poverty or laziness. It's about mastering the art of gratitude and trust. When we learn to be satisfied, we free ourselves from the endless cycle of wanting and spending. We stop chasing illusions of happiness tied to money or possessions. Paul's example shows that peace comes not from abundance, but from the heart's attitude toward what we already possess. Living with less than we earn requires discipline and faith. Faith that God will provide what we truly need. It also guards us from the dangers of debt and greed. When you embrace contentment, you gain control over your finances instead of letting money control you. This doesn't mean you shouldn't plan, save, or work hard. Quite the opposite. It means doing all these things without anxiety or fear. It means trusting that your value is not in what you own, but in who you are. So ask yourself, are you content with what you have, or are you caught in a never-ending race for more? True financial wisdom begins with contentment, because when you live within your means and trust God's provision, you unlock a peace money can't buy. Let's now consider a profound principle that connects work, faith, and finances, found in Colossians 3:23. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for human masters. This verse challenges us to see our work, and by extension our financial efforts, as acts of worship. Imagine the difference it makes when you approach your job, your business, or your financial goals, not just as tasks, but as service to God Himself. When you work with excellence and integrity, you honor God and unlock blessings beyond what money alone can offer. This mindset shifts how we view earning and managing money. It's not merely about profit or success. It's about stewardship, managing what God has entrusted to us with dedication and honor. Working as if for God means doing your best even when no one is watching. It means avoiding shortcuts, dishonesty, or laziness. It means committing to growth, skill development, and responsibility. Financial success rooted in this principle is more stable, sustainable, and fulfilling, because it's built on values, not just numbers. It also frees us from the stress of comparing ourselves to others or chasing quick gains. Instead, we focus on doing our part faithfully, trusting God to multiply our efforts. So ask yourself, are you working with excellence and purpose, or are you just going through the motions? When you commit your financial work to God, every effort becomes sacred. And in that sacred effort, real prosperity begins. Now let us dive into one of the most transformative financial lessons in the Bible, the value of generosity. The Bible teaches that generosity is not a loss, it's an investment. Whoever refreshes others will be refreshed, the scriptures say. This goes beyond mere charity. It's about a heart posture, giving from abundance, not from obligation. Generosity breaks the grip of greed and selfishness. It creates a cycle of blessing that returns to you in ways you never expected. When you share what you have, you align yourself with God's nature, a God who gives abundantly and without hesitation. But generosity also requires trust. Trust that giving will not leave you empty, but will open doors for unexpected provision. It's a powerful paradox. The more you give, the more you receive, not always in money, but in peace, joy, and spiritual wealth. Think about this. Those who hoard and cling tightly to their resources live in fear and scarcity. Those who give freely experience freedom and abundance. The Bible doesn't promise that generosity will always lead to financial gain, but it does guarantee a reward far greater, the satisfaction of knowing you are part of something bigger. Generosity impacts lives, transforms communities, and honors God. So ask yourself, are you holding back what you could share? Or are you planting seeds of blessing through your generosity? True financial wisdom is not just about accumulating wealth, it's about using that wealth to bless others. Because when you give, you never truly lose. Let's explore the Bible's teaching on long-term financial investment and prudence. The scriptures encourage us to think beyond immediate gain and consider the future with wisdom and care. Like a farmer who plants seeds knowing the harvest will come months later, the Bible urges patience and prudent investment. This is not about reckless risk or get-rich-quick schemes. Instead, it's about wise stewardship, carefully managing resources so they grow steadily over time. Ecclesiastes reminds us, "Cast your bread upon the waters, for after many days you will find it again." This means investing with faith and patience, trusting that what you do today can yield rewards tomorrow. The Bible warns against impatience and short-sightedness. The story of the talents, for example, shows how neglecting to invest wisely leads to loss. Prudence means weighing risks carefully, seeking counsel, and avoiding impulsive decisions. It also means diversifying resources, just like the ant who gathers food in many places to prepare for lean times. Long-term investment requires discipline. It requires resisting the temptation to spend every dollar on immediate wants, and it requires faith that God blesses careful planning. This teaching encourages us not to put all our hope in quick wins, but to build a foundation that lasts. So ask yourself, are you investing with wisdom and patience? Or are you chasing instant results that vanish as quickly as they come? True financial wisdom is about planting seeds for a future harvest, because lasting prosperity is born from steady, faithful stewardship. Now, let S confront a fundamental biblical truth about wealth and desire, the difference between honest riches and greed. The Bible clearly states, "The love of money is the root of all evil." This is not a condemnation of money itself, but a warning against making money your ultimate goal. Wealth earned honestly and used wisely can be a blessing. But when money becomes an idol, when greed consumes the heart, it leads to destruction. Greed blinds us to what truly matters. It makes us chase more and more, never satisfied. It can corrupt our values, damage relationships, and even break faith. The pursuit of wealth for its own sake breeds fear, anxiety, and emptiness. Yet honest wealth is built on integrity, hard work, and generosity. It serves a purpose beyond accumulation. It provides for needs, supports family, and enables us to help others. The key is the heart's attitude. Do you serve money, or do you serve God? Money should be a tool, not a master, a means to an end, not the end itself. The Bible urges us to guard against greed by cultivating contentment, gratitude, and generosity. When we love God above all, money loses its power to enslave. So reflect, are you pursuing wealth with a healthy mindset? Or are you trapped by greed's dangerous allure? True financial wisdom is not about how much you have, but how you use it and what controls your heart. Let's turn to one of the most vivid examples of financial wisdom in the Bible, the example of the ant. Proverbs tells us to observe the ant, which stores its provisions in summer and gathers its food at harvest. This tiny creature embodies foresight, discipline, and preparation. The ant doesn't waste the present moment. It plans for the future. It understands that seasons change, and what is plentiful today may be scarce tomorrow. This teaches us a crucial financial lesson, the importance of saving and preparing for the future. Too often, people live only for today, spending everything as it comes, without regard for what might happen later. But the Bible encourages us to be like the ant, to save, to be prudent, and to build reserves. Saving is not just about accumulating money. It's about creating security, stability, and peace of mind. It enables us to face unexpected challenges without panic. It gives us freedom to make choices rather than being forced by circumstances. Moreover, saving reflects wisdom and self-control, virtues that honor God. It shows we value stewardship and responsibility. So ask yourself, are you preparing wisely for the future, or are you ignoring the seasons ahead? True financial wisdom is found in living today with an eye on tomorrow. Because, like the ant, those who prepare will prosper even in difficult times. Now, let us reflect on a cautionary tale that carries a vital lesson about financial decisions, the story of the prodigal son. This parable warns us of the dangers of impulsive spending and living for immediate gratification. The younger son demanded his inheritance early, left home, and squandered everything recklessly. His haste to enjoy life without thought for the future led him to ruin and despair. This story speaks directly to the peril of immediatism, seeking quick pleasure or instant wealth without planning or restraint. In today's world, this temptation is everywhere. Credit cards, loans, flashy lifestyles that encourage spending beyond means. But the prodigal son's journey shows us the consequences: emptiness, debt, and broken relationships. Financial wisdom calls us to resist this urge to spend impulsively. It teaches us to value patience, discipline, and foresight, to think twice before making decisions that might harm our future stability. It also reminds us that mistakes can be redeemed. The prodigal son returned home, humbled and ready to change. God's grace is always available to those who seek it, so take this lesson to heart. Avoid the trap of immediatism. Plan, save, and live within your means, because true prosperity is built not on fleeting pleasures, but on steady, wise choices. Now, let us explore a financial lesson rooted in the biblical commandment of rest, the principle of Sabbath and balance. Beyond spiritual renewal, rest teaches us a vital lesson about sustainable work and financial well-being. The Bible commands us to observe a day of rest, a pause from labor, reminding us that constant striving can lead to burnout. From a financial perspective, this means understanding the importance of balance. Working non-stop without rest may seem productive, but it often leads to exhaustion, mistakes, and reduced effectiveness. Overworking can cause poor decisions, harm health, and ultimately hurt our finances. God's command to rest shows us that true productivity includes pause and restoration. When we honor this rhythm, we gain renewed strength and clarity. We make better financial choices, plan more wisely, and maintain long-term sustainability. Rest isn't laziness. It's a strategic part of stewardship. It's trusting God's provision and acknowledging our limits. It's a lesson in pacing ourselves to produce consistently without burning out. So ask yourself, are you respecting the need for rest? Or are you pushing yourself to the brink, risking your financial and personal health? Embracing rest as a biblical financial lesson helps us work smarter, live healthier, and manage our resources with wisdom. Because balanced living honors God and leads to lasting prosperity. Let us now explore the powerful lesson of giving with purpose. How the Bible teaches us to use our money to make a real impact. Giving isn't just about handing over what we've done to need. It is about investing in lives, communities, and God's work. The scriptures remind us that our resources are entrusted to us to bless others. When we give with intention, we become channels of hope, healing, and transformation. Purposeful giving aligns our hearts with God's mission. It's about more than charity. It's about partnership in building something greater than ourselves. Every dollar given thoughtfully can ripple out and change lives in ways we might never fully see. But giving with purpose requires wisdom and prayer. It's not random or impulsive. It's planned and aligned with God's guidance. We are called to seek opportunities to bless others in ways that honor God and multiply goodness. This approach to money transforms it from a mere possession into a tool for eternal impact. So, ask yourself, are you giving just to give, or are you giving with purpose to truly make a difference? Financial wisdom calls us to steward our resources well, including how we give. Because when we give with purpose, we reflect God's heart and participate in His kingdom work. Now, let us examine one of the most disciplined financial principles in the Bible, the practice of tithing. The tithe, giving 1/10 of one's income, teaches us powerful lessons about discipline, trust, and detachment from money. It's more than just a rule. It's a spiritual exercise that shapes our character and our relationship with God. By giving the tithe, we acknowledge that all we have is ultimately God's. We are simply stewards of His blessings. This act of faith reminds us not to cling tightly to our possessions, but to trust in God's ongoing provision. Tithing also cultivates discipline in our financial habits. Setting aside a portion regularly requires planning and self-control. It interrupts the cycle of spending everything without thought. Moreover, tithing breaks the power money can have over us. It helps us to detach emotionally from wealth and recognize that money is a tool, not a source of security. This principle calls us to live generously and depend on God's faithfulness. So ask yourself, are you practicing the discipline of tithing, or do you hold back out of fear or uncertainty? True financial wisdom embraces tithing as a way to honor God, grow in faith, and manage money with integrity. Because when we give first to God, everything else falls into place. Let us reflect now on one of the most profound lessons about generosity from the Bible, the example of the poor widow. She gave only 2 small coins, yet Jesus praised her as giving more than all the rich because she gave out of her poverty, not abundance. This story teaches us that generosity is not measured by the amount we give, but by the heart behind the giving. It's about sacrifice, trust, and the willingness to share what little we have. The Poor Widow's Act challenges the common notion that only the wealthy can be truly generous. Even the smallest gift, when given with faith and love, holds great value in God's eyes. It reminds us that generosity is a matter of spirit, not bank balance. This example encourages us to give sincerely and wholeheartedly, regardless of our financial situation. It also calls us to trust that God sees and honors our giving, no matter how small it seems. So ask yourself, are you giving from abundance alone? Or are you willing to give sacrificially with a generous heart? True financial wisdom is found in the attitude of the giver. Because generosity, even in small measures, reflects God's love and blesses both giver and receiver. Now let us consider one of the most important financial lessons in the Bible, the importance of seeking wisdom before wealth. The scriptures consistently place wisdom above riches, teaching that true prosperity begins in the mind and spirit. Proverbs tells us that wisdom brings life, and guarding it brings success. Without wisdom, wealth can quickly slip away or lead to destruction. Many have chased riches only to lose everything because they lack discernment and understanding. Financial decisions made in haste or ignorance often bring regret. But when we seek God's wisdom first, through prayer, study, and counsel, we gain insight that protects and guides our resources. Wisdom teaches us how to manage money responsibly, invest prudently, and avoid pitfalls like debt and greed. It also shapes our attitude, helping us to remain humble and content. This principle reminds us that wealth without wisdom is empty, but wisdom leads to lasting prosperity, not just in money, but in peace and purpose. So ask yourself, are you seeking wisdom before wealth? Or are you chasing money without direction? True financial success comes to those who prioritize wisdom, trusting God to lead their steps. Because when wisdom guides our finances, we build a foundation that can withstand any storm. Let us now examine a powerful biblical truth about loyalty and priorities. You cannot serve two masters. Jesus taught that no one can serve both God and money. This statement reveals a deep financial principle. Divided loyalty leads to conflict and spiritual unrest. Money by itself is neutral, but the love of money can control us, shape our choices, and become a master over our lives. When we prioritize wealth above all else, we risk compromising our values, integrity, and relationship with God. This struggle to serve both God and money often leads to anxiety, greed, and dissatisfaction. But choosing God as our true master brings freedom. It frees us from the bondage of endless striving and fear. It anchors us in faith, generosity, and contentment. This lesson calls us to examine our hearts. Who or what do we truly serve? Are our financial goals aligned with God's purposes, or are we enslaved by the pursuit of wealth? True financial wisdom is found in wholehearted devotion to God, because when God is our master, our finances become a tool for His glory, not our bondage. Now let's reflect on the priceless value of integrity, as shown through the example of Daniel and his friends. In a world where corruption and easy profit tempt many, these men stood firm. They refused to compromise their faith and principles for financial gain. Their story teaches us that wealth obtained through dishonesty or shortcuts is hollow and damaging. The Bible warns us against corrupt gain, reminding us that true prosperity is built on honesty and righteousness. Daniel and his friends modeled unwavering commitment to God. Even under pressure, they chose integrity over immediate profit, trusting that God would provide and protect them. This teaches us that financial success without integrity is empty. Choosing the right path, even if it's harder, leads to lasting blessings and peace. It challenges us to resist the lure of easy money that compromises our values. So ask yourself, are you willing to stand firm like Daniel, or do you compromise your principles for quick financial gain? True financial wisdom embraces integrity, knowing that God honors those who remain faithful in all things, because lasting prosperity is built on a foundation of truth and honor. Now let us explore the difference between being truly prosperous and simply being rich, a distinction the Bible makes clearly. Being rich often refers to having abundant possessions or wealth, but prosperity goes much deeper. Prosperity includes not just material abundance, but also spiritual health, contentment, and a life aligned with God's purpose. The Bible shows us that a person can be wealthy yet empty inside, struggling with anxiety, greed, or a lack of peace. True prosperity means having a balanced life, where wealth serves a higher purpose. It means using resources wisely, being generous, and living with integrity. It's about flourishing in every area: physical, emotional, spiritual, and financial. Prosperity is a blessing that transforms us, not just our bank accounts. So ask yourself, are you chasing riches without true prosperity? Or are you seeking a life of fullness that honors God? True financial wisdom is found in pursuing prosperity that lasts, because God's richest blessings are not just what we hold, but who we become. Finally, let us embrace one of the Bible's most encouraging promises about faithfulness and financial stewardship. Whoever is faithful with little will also be faithful with much. This principle reminds us that success doesn't come overnight or from grand gestures, but from consistent, faithful management of what we already have. God honors the small acts of responsibility, whether it's saving a little, repaying debts, or giving generously in small ways. Faithfulness in little things builds character and prepares us for greater blessings and opportunities. It teaches patience, perseverance, and trust in God's timing. Too often, we overlook the power of starting small and staying committed, but this promise assures us that no effort is wasted. When we steward our resources with integrity, no matter how modest, God multiplies them. This is not just about money, it's about a lifestyle of faithfulness in every area of life. So ask yourself, are you faithful in the little things, or are you waiting for a big break to start managing well? True financial wisdom embraces faithfulness now, trusting God to increase our blessings. Because the path to abundance begins with faithfulness in what we have today. Thank you for joining us on this journey through powerful financial lessons from the Bible. These timeless truths can transform not just your finances, but your entire life. If you found this video helpful and inspiring, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content that will guide you toward true financial freedom. Hit the like button to let us know you care and activate the notification bell so you never miss an update. We'd love to hear from you. Share your thoughts or your favorite lesson in the comments below. And if you know someone who's also seeking financial wisdom and freedom, please share this video with them. Together, we can grow, learn, and build a future rooted in faith and wise stewardship. Thank you, and God bless your journey to prosperity.